afternoon, everybody. It's June 3rd. It's Wednesday. We're getting well into our week and at the beginning of the month. My name's Kelly Baltzell, and I'm the CEO and owner of Beyond Indigo Pets. Wednesday is Telehealth Telemed Day, and we have Jess Trimble, Dr. Jess Trimble back. Welcome.
Thank you, as always.
It's always good. And then we just sit and talk about everything before this. So it was good. We're going to share some of that at the end of the broadcast. But what do you have for today, Jess?
Today we have some interesting things. I kind of went for statistics today. So hopefully the numbers don't bore people too much. But I saw this pop up yesterday that I found really interesting. So telehealth has grown 1.6 times since last summer. So that's a 160% increase in growth of telehealth usage. And I believe the article also said that approximately 50% of that growth has happened just since the beginning of this year due to COVID. But the other 50% was happening organically. And so telehealth in the human world continues to be utilized more and more and more. But the more interesting part of this article to me was the comparison between generations. And so Gen Z, as we expect, is using telemedicine the most. They are our digital natives. They don't know how to survive without, a phone in their hand or a computer in front of them. Millennials, which would be myself, we're, just barely behind. But baby boomers, obviously trailing it at 15%, which we would expect due to comfort level with digital products. But more importantly is to realize, again, that this is never going away. We now have generations coming in that, as digital natives, will be expecting this and are using it for themselves and will be expecting it more and more for their own pets. And so as our baby boomers are, retiring or, leaving the population, I guess is the nicest way to say it, we will be seeing more and more Gen Zs and millennials requiring telehealth to be a part of the practice that they want to bring their pets to. And I do believe I read a stat not that long ago that millennials are currently the largest pet owning population, but Gen Zs are very quickly making that up. Mostly because there are fewer of them having children and thus more of them adopting animals. And it's similar for millennials too. A lot of them are starting with dogs. So just be aware that as time goes on, even if this pandemic fades, the demand for telehealth is going to continue to escalate simply because of the generational needs and expectations that are coming along. And one other really kind of interesting point that I found in this article was that this pandemic has caused a fairly significant increase in drinking, smoking, and non-medication drug use. And so people are stressed out, they're bored at home, they are drinking more and smoking more and doing more drugs. And interestingly enough, I've been hearing from a lot of veterinarians that the pets are feeling that, in that there have been more exposures to drugs, more pets accidentally drinking their owner's alcohol, more exposure to, like dogs eating marijuana products, things like that. And so a lot of veterinarians are saying that this stay-at-home order has not been good for pets because we humans, our bad habits are picking up and it's affecting our pets. So just kind of an interesting news article all around. But it will sort of relate to our tip of the day now. And so these generations, the Gen Zs and the millennials, expect digital, anything digital. They want to communicate. They want to get all of their photos and messages from you as the veterinarian. But asynchronicity is the key there. So synchronous communication being, let's jump on the phone together. Let's do a Zoom call by video. Asynchronicity being, I'm going to send this text message and then I can get back to it at my own leisure or an email, right? So things that aren't requiring that response immediately. And so with 50% of our workforce being millennials, with Gen Z being our very soon to be largest pet owning population, those two generations really prefer asynchronous communication. And I can relate to this. I often want to due to phone calls. It's a very common thing with millennials. And they say it's because we have sort of straddled the two generations, right? We had a time when we couldn't be on demand, when, I don't think we had the internet until I was in high school, and then it was dial-up. And so we know what it used to be like to not be able to be contacted all the time. And now I live in a world where Slack gives me serious anxiety because I know somebody needs something from me right away, and I'm expected to respond right away. And so just understanding how millennials and Gen Zs think about communication will really help you to better tailor a plan to these populations that will very soon be your biggest clients. And so I thought these two statistics here were really interesting. For less expensive purchases, 73% of millennials will give up on a brand if they don't get the answer they need. Meaning, for something cheap, if they're just requesting a little information, if they don't get some sort of response or find the information that they need, they're gone. And then same thing here. So 75% of Gen Z millennials told researchers they would prefer to talk via text message versus phone calls. And I 100% relate to that. And so how does that affect you as a vet or as a practice owner? If you are dealing with anyone under the age of 40, try email first, try text messaging first, try an app that has chat-based messaging. And so when I was working and doing a ton of telehealth with Fuzzy, what we would find is that we would offer video calls, we would offer phone calls. Very, very few people actually wanted those. What they really wanted was to be able to send us a message and a picture in the morning saying, hey, I woke up, my cat puked on the carpet. Then they need to go to work, and they'll sort of check text messages through the day on breaks or at lunch. But they had no desire to want to sit down and have a video call when they knew that they could accomplish those things just sort of off and on at their own leisure, and they could prioritize that into their own life. So sort of some interesting but really dramatic difference in preferences of communication between all of those different generations. And so as you're going forward from here and thinking about your long-term telehealth plan, thinking about your long-term communication protocols, I'd really encourage you to build asynchronous communication into those protocols, especially because it is far more efficient. Your techs will be able to contact 3 times as many people. And you can do a lot of fun things with it too. I could talk about it forever, but just remember, asynchronicity for our younger generations is definitely the cool place to be.
So, know your demographic.
Know your demographic. Yep.
Know your demographic. It matters, because if you're not hitting them, and I think especially right now too, people I think have a less tolerance rate. I mean, it's just personal observation, but the background hum of the world right now is so intense that we don't have much bandwidth to engage with things if it's going to add additional work to us, right? Because we already have this intense background hum of the world going on right now, that anything extra work is just too much.
Yeah. Decision fatigue, compassion fatigue, ethical fatigue, those things are all so real. And we're used to dealing with it in the veterinary world. But now that the rest of the world is in the state that it's in, we're seeing it now in our personal lives as well as our work lives. And it's too much for a lot.
Too much, yeah. Then we have to deal with it, right? And then everybody says, well, how are you doing? I'm like, what's your baseline? Here's my baseline. And if you take this aside, I'm actually, okay today, water, right? But everybody has different baselines and different places they're coming from, and it's in a roller coaster. So you don't want to, you want to make people's lives as easy as possible.
You got to come
to them, right? I think that's the bottom takeaway. Yeah. So speaking of which, you were talking about a little really fun project that you're doing on the side.
Yeah, so this was sort of a whim, honestly. It popped up in a Facebook ad one day, but I love, love, love mushrooms. And this company, they make like high quality mushrooms for, the super fancy restaurants, but couldn't sell their mushrooms fast enough because of COVID and the restaurants being closed. And so they were selling their grow bags for 50% off. So I bought a few and now I'm hooked and I'm probably going to be doing this for a long time. And so basically what they do is they sell you this bag full of grain that has been inoculated with the spore of a mushroom. And then they let it grow basically. And so the mycelium grow and it kind of creates this little block of white mycelium. And then they stick it in the mail and they send it to you. And all you have to do is slice it open, expose it to air, spray it with some water a few times a day to keep it humid. And then in like a week, you've got mushrooms. And so this is my first harvest. So the one in the back that sort of looks like cauliflower, it's called lion's mane. And it's supposed to be more of a medicinal type. It's supposed to be really good for your brain and for stimulating new nerve cells to grow. But the ones in the front are called yellow oysters. And that little bowl is my very first harvest. And I ate some for breakfast this morning and they were delicious. But there's so many different kinds. And so I'll probably be buying lots more of these little bags and we'll keep on making them. They're just hanging out in a bedroom in a little tub. They take up hardly any room and I just spray them with water like twice a day. It's the easiest thing I've ever grown.
Wow. That is super cool. And they're just cool. I mean, mushrooms can be really cool.
They grow so fast. Like
yes.
I would say 3 days ago, the pins were like this big. And then day by day, I mean, they're growing. It's incredible to see. I wish I had a time-lapse camera to see how fast they really grow. It's very cool.
Incredible is that you're using all the right terminology for the beginning mushroom grower that you are. Like, look at her go. She's using all the words.
I recently bought my Audubon Guide to the Rockies, and so I've been reading all of the technical terms of everything lately. So my nerd is showing.
I love it. Pins. Look, the pins are showing, not the stalks, the pins. That's awesome. And then I was showing you that this is forthcoming, and I'm going to do a whole show on the 12th, but I can't do the reverse camera, but I'm bringing out my Love is Power
Love it.
brand that I own and setting up a store so that more so than any time, people need to broadcast love and not fear and hate. Yeah. So stay tuned. You'll be seeing a little bit more of that.
Oh, that's fun. I'll get one for sure.
It'll be awesome. We have t-shirts and sweatshirts and all sorts of stuff. So it'll be good. And then show us more mushroom pictures because those are really cool.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if from here, if I just pick them all and it goes quiet. I don't know. We'll see what happens next week because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm still learning.
Who knows what's happening next week in general. So it's good. All righty. Well, thank you so much and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you in 1 week.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.